And I am live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday Night Chillstream, the stationary edition. Although I did do a little work today. Yesterday, where did I go? I went to Windsor Locks yesterday. Today, I just went to White Plains. So a light weekend, but still better than I've had in a while. Last week, things worked out. I made a lot more money than I made more money than I've made like in the last 18 months. It was a week like I haven't had in a long time, although it took a lot out of me. Anyway, we're here. Last week I was yelling at everybody, and this week I'm asking you to smash up the like button. And you should smash up the like button because, let's be honest, what else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do? But if you're here, when you show up, smash the like button. And you're going to say, I'm not smashing the like button. You call us gay communists. You tell us all this sort of mean stuff, and I don't want to smash the like button. But you have to do it anyway. You have to do it anyway. Ultimately, you will be compelled one way or another to smash up the like button, because there's nothing else. There's nothing else quite like this. And for people who think that, when I say we're at war, that I'm exaggerating or being hyperbolic, I'm really not. You're forced, your parents, your grandparents have been forced to use a currency, right, which is designed to steal from 2% a year, 2% inflation, right? That's if everything works perfectly. And we know it's a lot more than 2%, right? So you're forced by the police, courts, prisons to use a currency that steals from you. And there's no way out of this, right? There's no way to escape this. And if you think that, the people that are doing that to you are doing it to you out of it's just some terrible mistake. Oh, once they realize, they'll stop doing it. Well, no, it's designed that way. And a fish rots from the head, and from there flows all sorts of monstrous things. And if you think to yourself, hey, you know what, maybe just don't rob me. Let's start with don't rob me, and let's see where we can go from there. If you scale down your expectations to just, how about I don't get ripped off? And if that seems, and that, to be honest, is too radical of an idea for a lot of people. You were born into this world where the paper dollar, the US dollar, is the world's global reserve currency. It's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. And you cannot imagine what life was like before, and you cannot imagine what life is going to be like after. But I promise you, things are definitely going to change. They're changing now. They're changing now, and this is. I didn't really understand this until a couple of days ago, until I finally saw what clicked. But the reason why the economy is melting, the reason why the economy is melting is very, very specific. I got a guy, he's some Euro-looking dude. I don't know from where he is, from where in Europe he is, but this is a Euro-looking guy who's explaining why the current headlines are happening. This is not about a trade war. This is not about tariffs. That's all a bullshit narrative to distract you. This is what it's really about.
Everyone thinks Trump's tariffs are about a trade war with China or Europe, but they're not. They're about crashing the US economy on purpose, and here's why. The US has to refinance $9 trillion in debt by 2026. Most of that was issued when interest rates were near zero. But today, the 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.2%, and every single basis point adds billions in interest over time. So how do you bring yields down? Well, you slow down the economy, even if it hurts. And yes, tariffs usually push inflation up in the short term, but this isn't about the short term. This is about engineering a recession to bring yields down. It's not a trade war, it's a yield war. It's about refinancing America at a discount. So next time you see the headline about the trade war, actually watch the 10-year Treasury yield, because this is where the real story is being written.
Right, so that's what this guy's talking about. All these bonds that are held, the 10-year bonds that are held by foreign countries and these big corporations, have to be refinanced, and that is in April of 2025. I guess they were issued 10 years ago in April of 2015, and with our current interest payments on the debt, and we're never going to repay that $36 trillion in debt, but the current interest payment is like 1.1 trillion already. It's over $1 trillion, and they got to get that down, because if they let it keep growing, they're going to have to hyperinflate, and they don't want that to happen. So they're trying to buy more time. And like this guy says, 9 trillion of the 36 trillion is due this month. They got to roll it over, and then with the lowest interest rate they can get, which is why all this stuff is happening in the stock market, right? Oh, the stocks are down, blah, 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 blah. Bitcoin's down, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, I title tonight's stream as Weimar Approaches, but Weimar is already here. And I've shown the chart of, you know, the gold Deutschmark versus the paper Deutschmark, and all those wild swings as government intervenes in the financial markets. And that's what's happening now. What that guy said, what Eurobro said, a deliberately engineered crash makes stocks so scary. And I'm not saying you should love stocks, but just make the stock market so scary and frightening. It's lost 40% in 3 months. That rich people who do not take risks, rich people only collect rewards. They don't take risks. They just collect the rewards, and more rewards, and more rewards for me, and more rewards for me, and more and more and more. That's what they do. They don't take risks. So the stock market looks risky. Where's the safe haven? Oh, bonds. But inflation is high. But at least you're not losing 40% in 3 months. So they'll all buy these bonds. The government will coerce all of these people to buy bonds, and they'll refinance at least part of the debt at a lower interest rate. And then the question is, what about when the next 9 trillion is due, or whatever the amount is? What are they going to do then? That's a really interesting question. I'd like to know when it's due. I don't know exactly. I was trying to Google it, trying to find that out. Like, when is the debt need to be rolled? Like, the next 9 trillion have to be rolled over, or 12 or 15 trillion or whatever. And then what are they going to do that time? Are they going to do tariffs again? I don't think so. They'll do cyber attack. They'll do, I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. But yeah, this is literally Weimar. This is the government crashing the market on purpose to force people to do something, to force an economic choice that people would not normally make, because the government needs to continue its ways. Now, okay, so they lower the interest payment, they refinance the debt lower. Does that mean they learned their lesson? Of course not. They're going to fuck it up. They're going to keep spending like crazy. And what's happening? This is really the Weimar nature of it all. I got a couple of videos. I got a couple of videos. This one, I thought I had a couple more. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Now, okay. Let's go with this one's short. Where's the short one? Here it is. So that's Philadelphia. There was apparently this weekend there was a whole bunch of rallies that keep your hands off whatever, like stop trying to cut government spending. So Elon Musk, comically, with his Department of Governmental Affairs, threatening to cut all this stuff. Now you've got crowds of people screaming, don't cut federal spending, keep spending, right? The exact same, keep your foot on the gas. Well, what does that mean they're gonna have to do? They're gonna have to print. So they've got you begging to turn on the money printer again, while they're trying to cut interest rates low enough so that they get another 2 years or 5 years or whatever out of it before it blows up again. And that's pretty comic, because the NPCs are out in force, man. The NPCs are now everywhere. I said you live in a world full of, like pot smoking, LSD taking Looney Tunes who could go off at any minute, and you sort of need to be aware of that. Here in the beautiful state of New Jersey, the true believers in Red Team lose the plot, although most people lose the plot because they don't even know that there's a plot to it. But here's what happened over the weekend. So that's Homedale, New Jersey, which is a pretty nice area. Dude in a MAGA hat went into a local donut shop, not a franchise place, and tore down a pride flag, or the rainbow flag. And then he started Zeke Heiling in the middle of the So he's completely like Elon did it. I can do it, He's lost the plot. He was arrested and charged with making terroristic threats, which is, I believe, a felony charge. You can tear down the American flag and burn it. You can stomp on it. You can do some other stupid stuff. But if you take down the gay flag, oh boy, that's going to be a felony charge. That's going to be a felony charge. So, and that's not the worst of it by far. There's various different. The people who don't think they're NPCs are still fucking NPCs, and they have gotten themselves into deep into this. The more you buy into these fucking narratives, the worse it's going to be for you. When I said, particularly millennials, they were like, "Hey, no cap, dead ass." For real. They don't know what's real, what isn't real, and if you don't have good information, you can't make good decisions at all. So everything's haphazard, and the chances you're going to make really dumb decisions goes up dramatically. And I'm picking extreme examples, but this this is somebody who caught a federal case because they bought into the narrative a little too deeply.
This dude was arrested and is now facing 20 years for firebombing a Tesla dealership in the state of Colorado. Do you want to see the face of a dude whose butthole is in absolute jeopardy? Look at Cooper Joe Frederick. How do you think this dude is going to fare in a federal penitentiary? A little advice, my guy. If you're not already very adept at the art of giving throat hugs, you better start practicing right now. I keep telling people that this is not a good idea, and I don't even care about the cause, bro. It's irrelevant to me. I don't like Teslas. I don't like y'all. Either way, it's a win-win. Who gives a shit? But you're throwing your lives away. You're gonna go to a federal penitentiary over the stupidest cause. All dumb shits were literally trying to guilt trip everybody into buying these cars just a year and a half ago. And now all of a sudden you're willing to spend 2 decades with your butthole being the community pincushion, all because what? You saw some shit on TV or social media? Indoctrination is astounding.
So that's a prison bro. He was the one that mentioned the Nick Fuentes story. That's how I found out about the Nick Fuentes almost got killed story. So, and the thing about these guys, where was the other one? I think I had a screen share of. Do I have it still have it up there? Yeah, the guy, the donut shop dude who tore down the fucking stupid flag. I looked in the comment section, and in the comment section, all of the Trump humpers, they can't believe that guy really did what he did. And the guy was a Polish guy. He wasn't Ziggy the Polak. He was some other Polak. But they're like, he's definitely a Democrat. He's not a real MAGA guy. He's a socialist doing a false flag operation. These people are unable to process the reality in front of them. They cannot possibly believe that that shit this crazy is happening, and that their noble, good, pure, virtuous side could, anyone could be a fucking a Looney Tunes and do that. But and like I said, that guy lost the plot. He's tearing down a rainbow flag when Donald Trump danced to YMCA at the inaugural. They don't. All this stuff is swirling around these people. They don't understand the forces that are acting on them. And even if you point it out directly, they're not gonna listen. They're just not gonna listen. And to be honest, when I say mean things to people, when I say mean things to you, if you think that's horrible, I promise you, much, much worse is coming. If you think, if you need someone to hold your hand and sweet talk you, I'm not your guy. I'm really not your guy. I'm too old. I don't have the fucking energy, and it's not going to work anyway. At the end of the day, you have to decide what you're going to do, And most people, to be honest, they're just going to go home with the current system. They're just going to think, oh, fuck it, I'll ride it out. You know what I mean? I'll probably get away with it. But, me personally, I can't live it. I have to, even though I'm living the lavish one-bedroom lifestyle in the state of New Jersey, it still bothers me that I'm forced to go along with this. And I have to find, for me personally, for my own conscience, a way to subvert this, and like I can't go anywhere and I can't see anything without being reminded that that we're at war, right? So I don't know who this guy is. They're saying this guy's a dangerous imam. This is some dude who's running for mayor in New York against Eric Adams. And the subheadline is, New Yorkers must stop the anti-Israel forces trying to elect radical Zoran Mr. Falafel as mayor of New York. Like, I don't think it would change anything, but protect us, Goy. Goy, you must protect us from this Muslim or political figure who, I don't know how strong of a chance this guy has to win. It might actually be pretty strong. The last time I was living in New York, when I was still living on Staten Island, when what's his name? Bloomberg, when Mike Bloomberg was mayor, the third time he got elected the third time, I got reelected the third time, but it was by like 5,000 votes, like some ridiculously small number, and it was against somebody you've never heard of, like somebody with no organization, somebody with no money, somebody with no nothing, came within, like, I don't know, maybe it was 50,000 votes, but it was an incredibly tiny number of votes that Bloomberg won by, literally against someone who had nobody knew about. They just walked in that booth, they saw Mike Bloomberg, and they're like, fuck that. Who's the other guy? I'm voting for the other guy. And that may be the situation happening in New York now. I would love to see that, something like that actually happens. That would tickle me. I don't think it would change much, but it would tickle me. And I like a good joke. I like a good joke, for as angry as I get sometimes. I still try to have some sense of humor, although it's hard. It can be difficult. And there are people that say, "Listen, you're fucking living a one-bedroom lifestyle in New Jersey, and you say all this crazy shit, and you're mean to us, and we don't like you." Okay, good. You're not here this week, but I promise. I listen. I know you'll be back, and you know you'll be back. But the lingering question you have to have in your mind is, why is all the crazy shit that I say something that Larry Fink says a week or 2 weeks or a month later, right? So Larry Fink says Bitcoin could replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency because of national debt. I said Bitcoin's going to take over America. I said it's going to take over the world. It is going to become the world's reserve currency. And Larry Fink said this, by the way. This was April 1st, so you could say April Fools, but April 1st, 2025. In the April BlackRock newsletter to its clients on page 20 is where he mentioned that Bitcoin could displace the US dollar. And you might look at the price of Bitcoin. I looked at the price of Bitcoin just before I clicked go live. It's at 78,000. So Larry Fink saying Bitcoin could replace the dollar and Bitcoin going down, you think, well, really? But the government's not going to stop spending. They're not going to, it's like the Federal Reserve is like a heroin dealer telling the junkie that, you should eat some square meals, while he's handing him another nickel bag full of dope. The reality is that, the brokey who lives a one-bedroom lifestyle and Larry Fink view this in exactly the same way. I'm not stretching it. I'm not, twisting the meaning. Larry Fink straight up says Bitcoin could replace the dollar as a world currency. I said that is inevitably going to happen. It is definitely going to happen. And you might want to stop and ask yourself why somebody like me sees it that way and somebody like him also sees it that way. And why is that? Is Larry Fink just having a joke with everyone? Is the brokey living a one-bedroom lifestyle just, in a fucking fever dream to whatever, hope to make change? You view it whatever way you want to view it, but that someone in his position and someone in my position view this in precisely the same way has more meaning than perhaps most people would give it. Most listeners would give credit to. And so you got to wonder, why the fuck is that happening? And I think, I don't know how well I've said this in the past, but the reason why Bitcoin's going to win is because Bitcoin doesn't fucking care. Doesn't need me, doesn't need you. Buy it, don't buy it. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It's not going to make me happy. It's not going to make me sad. I've said this channel is for people who are already fucking psychotically committed, like deeply committed to eliminating the source of Jewish power. The source of Jewish power is entirely financial. It's 100% financial. Nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, "Oh, thank you, Jesus, for making me born a slave to the Jew." Almost nobody. I got somebody who actually is happy about that. I'll show you the video in a minute. But really, nobody thinks, "Thank God I was born to be a slave," to some people who think I'm lower than a fucking farm animal. You know what? Let's talk about that guy. Let's talk about that guy, because this is, in terms of, I know you don't like me. Oh, you said mean things, James. You're a prick. Yeah, I'm a prick. But there are people who present themselves as an alternative, and they are not. They're most definitely not a fucking alternative. And I don't know, but by the way, this is this is from a podcast or some sort of broadcast with three black dudes. I don't know who these dudes are, but they are based as fuck.
No. You've never seen the video of Glenn Beck reading his handwritten request to Israel to become an Israeli citizen. No, I haven't. Please pull it up. It is one of the most embarrassing things.
See, Jewish? To have the privilege to stand with the Jew is a tremendous honor. So I want to read a letter that I wrote that I am sending to the state of Israel.
That's cuckery right there. You've never seen this?
No. I have chosen to ask you for citizenship. My desire for dual citizenship does not stem from any expectation of gain, but from a deep-rooted belief in standing with what is right. 10 years ago, I took my children to Israel for the first time. But we first visited Auschwitz in Poland. May Israel remain an eternal flame of hope, a beacon of resilience, and a testament to the enduring human spirit.
Like he's got a gun to his head.
I mean, you know, and here's the crazy thing about it. That's a woke right poem he just read. No, seriously.
Right,
this is the woke right.
Yeah, right.
This right here is the woke right controlled opposite. So
I don't know who that's like the Black Joe Rogan or something like that. Hey, Jamie, pull that up. But those dudes are, you know, when you look at Glenn Beck, he's the alternative guy. Alex Jones, we all know Alex, right? Don't forget Alex.
You understand that? That's what I'm talking about. And that's what they're scared of, is that spirit. I'd love to go to Israel. I mean, how historical is that? But I just can't deal with the Alex Jones is, you know, going to Israel to get his orders, or whatever. It's just like, I mean, I would love to touch the Wailing Wall.
Yeah, I would, you know, you want to go see Roman construction, you can see it all over the Mediterranean. But, you know, these are the alternatives. The rest is red team, blue team, you know. And red team, blue team is so scripted, it's fucking unreal. It's absolutely unreal. What do we got? We got my man. Now let's talk about Elon. When I tell you, and you know, you think, once again, understand we're at war, or at least I'm. And when you understand, like, when I look at the people that argue, the AI that fucking argues with me on social media, I'll post something and then I get a response like 5 minutes later, and I know it's fucking AI. It's not a person. And I've been beating the shit out of it, like, for I don't know how many months, like, because listen, you know, I will write. What did I write? Like, every time I see Nick Fuentes now, I just type out, and it auto spits out on my phone. Nick Fuentes is a gay midget who works for the CIA, and that's a very memorable sentence. You know what I mean? That sticks in your head. And I just wrote that again and again and again and again. And I would write that a whole bunch of times. Every time they stick one of those things in my face, I'm like, okay, you're gonna stick it in my face. Here we go. For the next actual human being that views that reel, they're gonna read what I wrote if they go to the comment section, and they're gonna laugh, and they're gonna remember that. That's what they're gonna remember. They're not gonna remember real. And so, just doing various things like that, just kicking the crap out of AI in these arguments and insult contests. You know, no surprise that I can beat them. I've noticed that in the last week or two, all they're doing now is they literally take the stuff I said 2 weeks ago and repeat it back. They're now literally just repeating back what I posted to their fucking, whatever shitty fucking propaganda piece they have. And I'm like, look at that. They have no fucking, because they would have no response, you know? They would say, you know, whatever. The AI would say something, I would smash it, and I'd wait to see how it responds. And I'm doing this, waiting to see, like, okay, how smart is it? How, you know, if it has all this large language model with 42 billion parameters and this and that, you know, can you go toe to toe with me in a contest of rhetoric? And the answer is it can't. And what it ends up doing is it just spits back whatever I said like 3 insults ago. It just looks through what I read and just repeats it back to me. And that's literally like fucking 3rd grade level shit. So pretty interesting. But for people that, you know, that think, again, this is red team, this is Trump and the bankers are fucking shitting. And you know, like, if the people who see this and listen to the audience, which will listen to the audience, because the audience 100% fucking laps this shit up, they don't know they're watching a puppet show.
What is your opinion on the Federal Reserve, and do you have any intentions of doing anything with them?
And the Fed. Yeah. I don't know. I always wanted to say that, you know. But I mean, I think there's like 20,000 people that work at the Fed. Seems pretty high. It's like there's a lot of people that work at the Fed, and it seems like, why do we have so many people at the Fed, and what do they do? And you know, sometimes I wonder which one would win. You know, the federal for interest rates. the board of the Federal Reserve or a magic 8 ball? And I'm like, I think the magic 8 ball might win, you know?
So obviously a planted question, the dude with the hairy black, you know, the bald guy. Well, what do you think about the Federal Reserve, and what would you do about it? You know, anybody who knows anything about the Federal Reserve knows it's not federal. It has no reserves. It's a private bank that prints the money that it loans to the U.S. government, and the U.S. government has to pay back with interest. Anybody who knows anything about the Federal Reserve knows that. Except the question isn't framed that way, right? And then the whole thing, I don't know how, I wonder how many times they must have practiced that. They're like, Elon, a guy in a black coat's going to come up. Here's the question he's going to ask. And then here's the response you give. You say, and the Fed, and then you talk about the magic 8 ball, which was like a toy from the 1980s, like a divination, like it was like a plastic ball filled with liquid, and there was like a dice or something in there that would spin around and give different answers. And it was like a divination tool. Like, you know, for people who couldn't shuffle an entire deck of tarot cards, this was a cheap toy that they made. They sold a lot of it. It was a cultural thing in the 1980s. And then, you know, Elon makes fun of it. So they're mocking all your concerns. They're telling you they're a private bank. They're going to fucking win forever. And they're going to steal from you forever. You know, if they stole from your parents and your grandparents, they're going to steal from your children and your grandchildren. And you don't think you're at war with them? Do you think that you could come to some sort of accommodation with them? Do you really think that? Like, oh no, you know, I'll talk to them and they'll be reasonable. No, you're not. You're not going to do that. That is not going to happen. That's never going to happen. But you know, in terms of puppets, we got puppets. By the way, Bitcoin, you think that Elon's a puppet? We have our own puppets. I think this is a Samson Mao puppet.
I think it's the foundation of civilization, basically. Families having an asset like Bitcoin and allowing a time preference that basically values the future over the present, and parents have to save and sacrifice for their kids, passing down wealth, values, and discipline. And this basically builds a stable, productive society. It's as simple as that. And there's something that's been eroded and taken away from us by the fiat world that we live in. But people are waking up to this, and it's great to see. And I've seen that more than ever in Bitcoin circles, for example.
Okay, well, Bitcoin is waking up to it. Not people are waking up to it. Once you choose to start to subvert the fiat system, you know, whether you think that's because, whatever reason you think it's because, for whatever reason you're doing it, and that's what's important. And if you're not doing it, then you're, man, all you're really doing is dancing to their tune, and their tune is not one that you're gonna fucking like. Not one you're gonna like at all. What am I gonna show you? Oh, we did that guy already. If you're not, honest to God, if you need me to sweet talk you in order for you to act in your own best interest, then you're not going to make it. You're really not going to make it. You know, that's just a reality. Because what they're going to do, what they are doing, what they're going to continue to fucking do, is going to require a lot of internal motivation and a lot of self-discipline, because if not, you're going to end up like these fucking jerks. Where was in London? This is fucking, I don't know when the fuck this happened in London, but you want to talk about London has fallen? Jesus fucking Christ. London has most definitely fallen. I don't know if you could see how deep that was. I don't even know what street that was. I was not on that street when I was in London last January, but the previous January, I should say. But what are you fucking kidding me? You know, they will line you up and make you do a homosexual dance in the middle of the street. I don't know. I'm not sure if all those guys were queer or not. If there are that many queers in London, maybe there are, but they're going to make you do this. You know, they're going to make your kids do this. They're going to make your grandchildren do this, and worse, and a lot worse. And if you don't hate them, and if you don't think, how am I going to end them? Then what are you doing? You know, if you're not doing that, you know, if you don't think I need to fucking end these people need to be wiped off the face of the earth, then ultimately, no matter what you say, this is what you're saying.
Toby be good nigga for massa. Good nigga.
Did that even go? Oh, wait a minute. Play it again.
Toby be good nigga for massa. Good nigga.
That's what you're saying. You, Alex Jones, Glenn Beck, you can all get together and have a party. You know, you can all get together and have a party. But if you're not, I don't understand why you would not look to end this. You know, that's just lost on me. And like I said, if I have to hold your hand, if I have to hug you and kiss you, if I have to mollycoddle you, you're not going to make it. You know, I'm going to let you go, and you can watch the fucking world pass you by, but the real world is the world I fucking talk about. You know, real motivations. Nobody gets out of bed in the fucking morning to work hard for nationalism. Nobody fills potholes out of fucking racial solidarity. Nobody fucking, you know, cleans toilets or flips burgers for cultural cohesion. All these shitty jobs and a million other shitty jobs there are that fucking I can't even name off the top of my fucking head are done for fucking money, right? You want somebody to do something hard and fucking difficult and long and complex, you have to fucking pay them. And most people are thinking, well, I'll just stop criticizing the Jews if they just give me a big bag of money. Just give me like 3 suitcases full of $100 bills and I'll be quiet. One, they can eradicate anybody they want to eradicate. And these days on social media, they could just fucking have the algorithm fucking remove you. You know, you're never going to have a voice. You're never going to have a platform, and nobody's going to follow you anyway. You know what I mean? And if you deviate from the fucking script, you know, that's when hot lead flies. So, you know, you're deluding yourself to think that you're going to do anything. You're deluding yourself to think that you're going to be rescued.
Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like fuck. Must have on a beat, bro, deep boat in the back. He a freak though, man, damn, call like Ember Lambs, tell him breathe.
I know. Real fascism hasn't been tried yet. But that's the reality. And if you don't want to fucking accept that reality and figure out a strategy that works for you and your family and whatever, then you really shouldn't be. Honest to God, I should not have 62 subscribers. I should have 26 subscribers. Because I think most people are bullshitting themselves and making excuses. Even when, and for all people moan and groan, you know, Larry King, Larry Fink, Larry King is dead, but he was also Jewish. When Larry Fink says that Bitcoin could replace the dollar, he's dog whistling to anybody who can hear, but most of his tribe is not listening. The overwhelming number of his tribe are not listening. You know, they're not reading all the way back to page 20 in the BlackRock newsletter. You know, the only people who are digging that deep are Bitcoin fanatics. That's no one else is doing that, because most people's plan is to just go along. But if you're going to win, listen, in anything in life, you got to have a goal and a plan on how to get there. Because if you have a goal but no plan on how to get there, it's just a wish, right? It sounds trite, but it is It is true. A goal without a step-by-step plan to get there is just a wish. So when you see that nation states, like the second largest economy in the world, China, have figured out how to get more uranium out of seawater, 40 times more than previously was possible, you understand how serious that nation state is about energy independence, about being able to do whatever it wants, whenever it wants, and not being dependent on others. And I got some video of a guy. Where's the guy? I don't know who this guy's like the trade attaché or something. I don't know who the fuck he is. He's some big shot that speaks perfect English and works for the Chinese government. And they were questioning him about the tariffs. And this is what he had to say.
Should China worry about U.S. tariffs?
We never worry about it.
Why not?
Yeah. We only focus on ourselves, how we can do much better. We don't worry about others.
So you don't worry about President Trump's next moves?
Of course. Nobody worry about it.
So the woman's asking him, are you worried about the tariffs fucking with the Chinese economy? And he says, no, we're not worried about it. We only worry about what we're going to do. And she's like, but you're not scared? He's like, no, nobody's scared. They have a plan. They're following their plan. And this is the way to win. This is the way to win with anything. You have to know what you're going to do despite what the other guy does. You have to be proactive. You can't sit there and go, well, if he does this, or I'll wait until he does that. You have to be proactive. You have to decide, no matter what the fuck he does, I'm going to do this. No matter what the fuck they do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to, abandon my plan. You got to have a plan, how you're going to get from here to there, and work that plan. And don't worry about what the other guy's going to do, because that's reactive. And, if you're reacting, the other side's always got the initiative, and they could be incompetent and corrupt and 10 other bad things. But as long as they have the initiative, as long as they're the ones calling the pace and what happens next, they're going to win. So figure out your fucking plan and start doing it. Because if you're not doing that, you keep waiting for permission. You keep waiting for your savior. You keep waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect set of circumstances. Never going to fucking happen. You need to recognize your own self-interest and begin acting it. And understand what's really valuable and what's garbage. Tons of stuff like this around, but this is a fucking video from England. Real knowledge does not come. Real knowledge does not at all come from these fucking buildings full of books anymore. If it ever did, but it really doesn't come in. Today, if you have a son or a daughter or a fucking niece or a nephew, and you're not sending them to fucking welding school or HVAC school or something like that, or teaching them how to be a fucking plumber, you are crippling them. You're putting them into crippling debt, and this is what they're going to be doing for 4 years. You look at that, and if you're honest, you're going to ask, when was the last time that any real learning happened in that classroom? Because that shit, the fucking Dindu doing backflips off the fucking teacher's desk, or whatever the fuck he was doing the backflips off of, that didn't just pop up yesterday. This sort of thing builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds until the animals take over the fucking asylum. So it didn't just happen yesterday. This has been a long time coming. And you know, the people who are trying to teach you about Chaucer and fucking physics and trigonometry and calculus, they gave up decades ago. They've just been coasting until, you know, collecting their check and their pension, and then fuck it, let them do whatever they want to do. And if you put your son or your daughter in an institution like that, that's in Leicestershire. I don't know how big of a deal Leicestershire is in the world of academia, but it's all fucking bullshit. I've said it before, and it's a bitter fucking truth. None of the books you ever read ever helped it. One, they never told you were born into debt slavery, right? They never told you that centralized control of all money and credit is essential for the implementation of communism, and that every single Western country, every single Western nation has a central bank. It never explained that to you, and it doesn't explain how to get out of it, right? All the stuff you learned in college is a tiny bit of useless nothing, okay? When you study Bitcoin, whether you're pro or con, you're going to learn so much more about how the real world works and why things happened the way they happened, that you will be forever changed. And that, that's a good thing. Well, it's a good thing for me, and it's a good thing for most everyone else, because, you know, noticing red pilling and unity calling. Where's my unity call? Where's my unity call?
They, them, energy. They, them, energy. They, them, energy. They, them, energy.
Yeah, way to go. If you think that's going to make a significant change in how things work, then you should not be here, right? All the stuff you think you learned, all the stuff, listen, this shit that I fucking love, but I understand it's just retard shit that I love. I don't need other people to like the stuff I like. You know what I mean? I don't need other, like you. You don't like motorcycles, you think they're retarded, you think I'm an organ donor? Okay, that's cool. You know what I mean? You don't like guns, you don't like big piles of rocks on the other side of the planet that are 2,000 years old. Fine, that's just the shit I like. I work hard, I take the fiat I make, and I go do the things I want to do with it. I'm not doing it for your approval. I'm not doing it to be part of your little clique. I'm doing it because I like it, you know? And that's the only thing you can do. It doesn't change the world, but it makes me happy, right? I have the time and the means to fucking do it, so I do it. You know? And if you're sitting and thinking, oh boy, I need to read this book to be part of an intellectual movement to something, you're fucking full of shit. This is a virtue signaling bullshit, right? And now you got kids going $600,000 in debt to watch somebody doing backflips off the fucking professor's desk. You know, college is finished. It's been a joke for a very long time, but it is completely finished. University level education, completely cooked, done. A waste of time and effort. You want to read the books, read the books. You want to have discussions of Chaucer and fucking Seneca and whatever, you know, rock on. It's going to be hard enough to find any intelligent conversations about any subject that's not, you know, whatever fucking the America's twerking contest 2025. But, you know, you might find them. And good luck to you. But you're going to have to do it because you want to do it, not because you think it's going to get you some sort of social status or some sort of material gain because you did trigonometry. That's, you know, there's people that need trigonometry. They're just very few people on the face of this earth. And it's better to learn a couple of tricks that will just fucking work than all that elaborate bullshit. And that's the way it is. And you may not like that, but that's the way it is, you know. And so the more quickly you adjust to that, the better off you're going to be. Wow, we got comments. We have comments. Accelerated learning. Thanks for saving me from gay communism and unity calling. Best show. I do what I can. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm rough around the edges. I insult people. I make them cry, and then they don't want to come back. But, you know, if I can point you in the direction away from gay communism and unity calling, then my life on this earth will be truly fulfilled. Trad Dad, Christian submission may be the single biggest factor in Western decline. There's no such thing. Listen to me. The Vatican Bank is ruled by the Rothschilds. All of these elaborate structures exist because you have the time and energy to play with them. You know, there was a thing where I showed a fucking church. It's a church in fucking, I can't remember where it was, like Lithuania or fucking Slovenia or where else. I can't remember the fuck it was. It took 500 years to build. Maybe it was Portugal. I don't remember where it was. It was a church that took 500 years to build. Do you think the people in that country stopped believing in Jesus for 500 years? They're like, we believe in Jesus. Nah, let's let 499 years go by. All right, let's believe in Jesus again. No, they didn't have the fucking money to pay the guys who knew how to make the stones and make the fucking elaborate cathedral. If you want shit done, you gotta fucking pay people. And if you don't have the ability to pay people, then whatever fantasy pops up in your head ain't gonna fucking happen. Whether your fantasy is getting some fucking street prostitute to suck your dick, or to make an elaborate fucking edifice to a religious narrative, it doesn't matter what it is, you gotta fucking pay for it. Somebody's gotta pay for this shit. And if you want it to last 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 fucking years, you're gonna have to pay the best fucking guys to do the best fucking work with the best fucking material. And it doesn't matter the time or place when it fucking occurred. It doesn't matter if it happened in fucking Mesopotamia in 3,800 BC, or if it happened in fucking Europe last week. It doesn't matter. Doing hard, difficult fucking things, you have to exchange something of value for the type of work and skills to make that thing fucking happen. Nobody does it just because they love Jesus. You can love Jesus all fucking day and all fucking night. But if your wife and kids are starving and you're living outdoors underneath a fucking tree, you ain't building no fucking cathedral or anything else. There has to be a system in place where the exchange of value is relatively fair. And what we live in today, it is not. It is designed to steal from you, your children, and your grandchildren forever. And if you're happy living that way, cucking like that, that's super cuck, you can go with Glenn Beck. You can go with fucking Alex Jones, and you can spin in your mind elaborate fantasies of whatever you want. Me personally, I don't care for the Christian thing. I like Zeus and lightning bolts and flying horses and a bunch of other shit. That's the shit that entertains me. Do I think it's real? No, it's not real. But it's the shit that I find entertaining. So, that's that. And, I realize I'm in a very small minority, but hey, I still get to fucking believe the nonsense I want. Trad Dad, whether it pays the bills or truly devout Gentile leadership is submissive to everyone. None of them are okay. Virtue signaling to maintain your fucking do-nothing job. Most jobs are do-nothing jobs. Most bosses are do-nothing bosses. You talk about Christian leadership. Well, what makes them the leader? Oh, well, I read the book. See this book? It's called the Bible. I read it, and right here it says, you're supposed to give me 10% of your everything you make because some chick stole a fucking apple from a tree 6 million years ago. And you're like, wait, I read that too, but I didn't think that was the important part. No, I'm the top guy. Look at me, I'm up on the stage. In front of the stage, there's a podium. Behind the podium, we got the thing. It's all a fucking show. And you want to buy into that, that's fine. I don't care. But they don't do anything. They've conned you into thinking they're holier than you, they're smarter than you. Look at this. I have a very expensive certificate from a very expensive school that you can't get into. That makes me smarter than you. That makes me tell you, and you fucking buy into it. Instead of going, hey, go fuck yourself. Fuck you and the fucking horse you rode in on. If they did that, they'd have to come up with something different. The only reason why they taught you how to read the Bible, right? And I did I had a video on this. People in Europe used to be able, the early Christian era, would put down their tools and they could just go on a religious retreat. Well, that if the worker leaves the fucking work site, shit don't get done. So they had to teach people how to read so you could pick up the Bible and go on a mental holiday. That's the only reason why they taught you how to read. Right? That's the only reason. So you would stay on the job site. You could read the Bible before work, or you could read the Bible during your lunch hour, but don't leave. You're staying here and work. And the king is going to stay in the fucking castle doing not working for his entire life. That's the fucking con, bro. That is the con. It's always been the con. And if you're comfortable with that and you want to live that way, great. But I don't, and I look at this and I think, can I knock the whole thing over? Of course. I'm fucking nobody and I'm nothing. But can I take out one brick in the wall? Yeah, I think I can. And that's what I'm going to do. Accelerated learning. I see they quit talking about auditing the gold reserves. I think, what would it matter though? Think it through. All the gold is there. Hooray. But we're still $36 trillion in debt. None of the gold is there. Oh my God. We're still $36 trillion in debt. Right? The 10-year treasury bill, we owe 36 trillion interest on $36 trillion, which the reason why the market's crashing, I covered this in the beginning, but real quick, well, let me show you that guy. Let me show you the cool, smarter guy than me who does not live a one bedroom lifestyle. Some Euro dude.
Everyone thinks Trump's tariffs are about the trade war with China or Europe, but they're not. They're about crashing the US economy on purpose, and here's why. The US has to refinance $9 trillion in debt by 2026. Most of that was issued when interest rates were near zero. But today, the 10-year treasury yield is at 4.2%, and every single basis point adds billions in interest over time. So how do you bring yields down? Well, you slow down the economy, even if it hurts. And yes, tariffs usually push inflation up in the short term, but this isn't about the short term. This is about engineering a recession to bring yields down. It's not a trade war, it's a yield war. It's about refinancing America at a discount. So next time you see the headline about the trade war, actually watch the 10-year treasury yield, because this is where the real story is being written.
By the way, the 10-year treasury at the end of at the close of Friday business was under 4%. It was like 3.88. I don't know how low they're looking to get it, but Bitcoin dumped earlier this afternoon, and I'm presuming tomorrow the market's going to crash again. And I titled tonight's stream as Weimar Approaches, and I'm not joking. The government is crashing the market. The entire S&P dropped 10% in 2 days. I don't know how much in a week, like 15% in a week, down 4%, down 3%, down 5%. That's government intervention in the economy, to scare stock market people into buying bonds. That's what they're doing. That's what that guy's talking about. And they have to do it for $9 trillion worth. That saves about $100 billion a year, which is $100 billion more rope for America to hang itself with. But it's refinancing one credit card with another credit. You got $10,000 in credit card debt at 25% interest. Holy shit, I can't pay my rent. But if you could refinance that down to 15% interest, okay, I can make the rent this week. The problem is, of course, the undisciplined spending. There'll be another 10 trillion or 15 or 20 trillion that'll have to be refinanced. And what are they going to do? They can't do trade war again, but they can't do tariffs again, because that's what they're doing now. So what are they going to do? Cyber attack? I don't know what they're going to fucking do. COVID 2.0? Who fucking knows? But this is Weimar. This is what they did during Weimar. This is what they're doing now. You're sitting there hoping, oh, joy, oh, thank God we're in Weimar, because after Weimar comes Hitler. Yeah, I don't think so. But, again, you believe whatever you want to believe. Like I said, I like Zeus with the lightning bolt and the flying horses. You want to believe Hitler's come to save white America? Whatever, man. Rock on. Rock the fuck on. Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, welcome to the show, sir. The point I'm trying to make is money talks and bullshit walks, right? That's why all of this stuff is happening. The reason why they brought Trump back is because Biden couldn't sell this. Biden can't sell the trade war and we're going to do this. And he just, nobody would buy it. Like literally nobody would buy it from him, but they'll buy it from Trump. And this, pound this into your fucking head. Okay. It's not pleasant, right? And you're going to have to adapt to it, but this is the real world. Mr. Beatty.
You understand that? That's what I'm talking about. And that's what they're scared of, is that spirit.
That one, not that one, not that one, not that one. I clicked the wrong one.
Pounds and
clicked the wrong one.
It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet. That is the natural order of things today.
See that guy that's horrified in the shadows? That's you. You don't want to believe that. You want to believe in Christianity and nationalism, Western Europeanism. It literally doesn't exist. These are fairy tales that you can afford or you can't afford, depending on how well the currency is working, right? But the currency is working less and less well. The U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve is an attempt for the current governmental structure to survive. The second attempt is a more aggressive thing, which is this stable coins, whether it's going to be Tether or the other one, is going to be a super high speed, essentially digital dollar, which will be so much more efficient at settling business across the globe that it will destroy every other currency, right? At least in the short term. No more yen, no more Chinese yuan. China might hang on longest. No more ruble, no more euro, no more pesos, right? The dollarization of the world's economy is coming. And they have to figure out, politicians have to figure out how the Federal Reserve profits from this. But that's what's coming. And it's going to look like an incredible boom, you know, in the short term until it fucking blows up. And then, you know, and then if you don't have Bitcoin, you're going to have a problem. And, you know, you can do, you know, whatever you want to do. Waste as much time as you want, look for another alternative. But like I said, if you're not 100% sold here, why are you here, really? I mean, I'm not that fucking entertaining. I mean, I'm really not, you know? So, you know, and you're not that much of an intellectual. I don't think you're writing, you know, chapter 754 of Why Democracy Sucks. Here's this crazy guy on YouTube who's talking about Bitcoin. I don't think that's what you're doing. I don't think you're writing the big book of Why Democracy Sucks, although maybe you are. If you're not here, if you're sitting, oh, I'm going to be in the fence, I don't know, maybe, you know, then it confounds me. I don't spend time on things that I don't get something back from. You know what I mean? If I'm not getting something out of this, why am I here? My curiosity is not as great as it used to be because I realize most things are fucking bullshit. Accelerated learning. Have a good week. I'm going to try. I had a good week last week. Tried that. Honorable working man, got to work 40 plus hours this week as others check out and let the state support them. Yeah, you know, I wish I worked 40 hours a week. You know, 40-hour work week to me I would wonder how to fucking fill the extra time. But a 40-hour work week is going to become less and less common for more and more people. The fucking gig economy is a 75-hour work week. It's an 80-hour work week. That's what the gig economy is, you know, and that's not going away, you know, that the economy is going to boom. Like this crash a year from now, this time next year is going to be completely forgotten. The fucking, God knows what the Dow will be at. If the S&P will be fucking 3 times higher, you know, and this thing will be completely forgotten. And everybody will be partying like it's 1999, but the dollar will fucking lose a tremendous amount of value, and more people will work more fucking hours to live together in some communal fucking shithouse. While BlackRock buys up every fucking single family home on the face of the earth. And why you would want to go along with this 100%, I don't know, but you could subvert it and you could improve your life and the lives of those who maybe depend on it. Tread that. Gay fraud communism is here. I'll tie my hitch with people who trade and barter like we lived by before central banking. Well, yeah, that's an inefficient system, but you want to go backwards, go backwards. You know, I suggest buy horses, get rid of your light bulbs, buy tallow candles, you know, an anvil, practice your blacksmithing skills. That should fill up most of your fucking time, but that isn't going to happen. Going backwards technologically is never the answer, has never been the answer, and has never succeeded. All of you guys, like I said, you know, you think I'm being insulting just to be insulting, but I don't know how else to get this across. This system is the only system you've ever lived in. You romanticize the trade and barter thing. You've never done it. You've never done it. Hop on a fucking plane and go to like Libya and try to buy a fucking dozen eggs, you know, in fucking Libya, you know, and see what that's like, you know, without currency, without the US dollar, you know. Try and figure out what you can carry in your suitcase that's worth 12 eggs and a loaf of bread, you know, and see how easy that is and think, wow, would I want to do that every day of my life for the rest of my life? The answer is no, you wouldn't. People are always going to look for a more efficient system. And there's evidence that stuff that they're finding, they found bronze ingots, just fucking like long fucking ingots of fucking bronze that people were trading back in the day. Because I don't know, is that horse worth that fucking boatload of fucking wheat? How the fuck do you figure this out? You know, there has to be a medium of exchange that's efficient. I don't have all fucking day to do one fucking deal. You're gonna find that out. And yeah, the going backwards thing, you can romanticize it all you want, but first off, you don't do it now. And second off, you're gonna want to fucking kill yourself if you do have to do it. But you know, again, I'm a freedom of choice guy. You want to go that way, go that way. I just don't think. I just say that it has never worked, and if you make it work, you'll be the first man. Guess what? You'll be the first man to ever make it work. So who knows? Maybe you'll be famous. Maybe you'll be famous, and maybe they'll build statues to you. In the meantime, you can take what energy you have left and smash up the like button, because that's important to do. That's important to do because it gives the scumbags of Google something to do to subtract the number of views and likes that are fucking. Although last week, I don't know, it might have been some legit subtractions on the like button, but anyway, with that, where am I? I'm fucking an hour and 8 minutes. But I don't think I really missed anything. I don't really think I missed anything. The gay donuts. What is it? Man, if there's one video here, I don't know what the fuck it is. Hold on, let me just click on it. I'll see what I think about it on the other side.
Well, what's happening with the market right now is pretty crazy. The stock market is crashing, and a lot of my clients are asking me why.
That's the same version as a Euro dude. Now I know it was. Sometimes I double and triple things up because I fucking forget. I forget. So there's nothing. Yeah, the gay donuts, we did that. Alex Jones, you know, Hitler and Friends, always popular. The Unity Call, you know, but at the end of the day, this is what you're fighting against.
We print it digitally, so.
Yeah, they print it digitally. They press a button and trillions appear. And they buy real fucking things. And you, with your 40-hour work week, if you live to be 10,000 years old, would never be able to compete. And maybe you're sitting there fatalistic. Maybe you're thinking, well, fuck it, we can't beat these guys. All right, then, you know, you think we can't beat these guys. But I think we can. And I certainly am going to try, because I don't like looking at Planet Zog. I don't like to think of that, right? I don't like to think I'm stuck underneath that fucking thing, right? And I take my inspiration from this. The truest thing that ever popped out of their fucking mouths. Give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws. Well, if you lose control of a nation's money, of the planet's money, then who makes the laws are going to be real interesting and real different from what it currently is. So I would suggest, listen, you do this. You just join the Bitcoin mafia. Take your fucking take your Bitcoin miner, if you're a miner dude, and just bash the shit out of people who own shares, gold people, COVID believers, fiat bros. Just join the Bitcoin mafia and live a life of freedom. What else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do? Your other choice. This is your other choice. You know what your other choice is? You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like your other choice. This is your other choice.
Toby be good nigga for massa. Good nigga.
Ooh, that's racist, James. It's very racist. But sadly true. That's your other choice. So you decide how you're going to spend your time on this earth. With that, I am an hour and 12 minutes into this. To Virgil Dark Purple Heart, Trad Dad, and Accelerated Learning, and everyone else that's going to stop by in the coming week. Thanks for stopping by, and I will talk to you again next week.